Hey guys, welcome to the Heroes Institute. It is Damien, I'm Damien, and we are going to talk some ideas that can make you a hero, because after all, ideas are the most powerful thing you can give someone. Not a bomb or $1 million, an idea that allows them to grow and become a superhero, essentially. So today's topic or idea is called the paradox of perfection. And it basically goes like this: the more you chase perfection in life, the more imperfect your life will be. And a lot of us have probably experienced this before, and I know I have. I'll give you a bit of a spiel about my kind of story on perfection, and you can probably relate. As like a lot of perfectionists, we are very compulsive, and like things are never good enough, and we just keep looking for things to pick at to make it better and better and better. And in the end, that process leads to, apart from being having OCD, it leads to a lot of unhappiness and a lot of stress and kind of being let down, because this idea of perfection, especially when you chase someone else's or society's idea of perfection, constantly eludes us. And when something constantly eludes us, we give up and we're like, oh no, I'll never get there. So it's a vicious cycle that just keeps going and going and on and on. Anyway, okay. So I chased the perfect partner, the perfect job, the perfect car, and having a perfect house. And to an extent, I got to a certain level, but I never got to that level of perfection that society prescribes. And as you can imagine, I lost it all in the end, because I realized, that doesn't make me happy, and I transformed myself. I started working on myself and trying to realize what makes me happy. So let's get into it. So the paradox of perfection essentially goes like this. So if you chase, as I mentioned, if you chase perfection, your life will be imperfect. And a lot of people they have this notion that perfection doesn't exist, and I'm here to say it does. Okay, it does exist. It's just a matter of defining what you define as perfect and what are you willing to accept. Because, okay, so let me elaborate on this. So the paradox of perfection is basically saying that, I'm repeating myself. Okay, so let's talk about the paradox of perfection and just tweak it. If we make an adjustment, we can realize that if perfection leads to imperfection, why don't we do the opposite? So if chasing perfection leads to a life of unhappiness, what about if we twist it? I had a bit of a British accent just then. How about if we just twist the definition? If we stop chasing, so we stop chasing. So we essentially accept imperfection. That should essentially lead to a life of happiness. Because we just did this opposite thing. We did the opposite. When you do the opposite of something, you get the opposite result, theoretically. So let's just put this idea into practical, reality. Okay, so is your mind blown? Because my mind was blown. It's because the thing about paradox is that a lot of times when we do one thing, we get the opposite result. So it's just a matter of twisting or kind of reversing the order so we get the opposite result. So a simple example is that whenever you like someone, the more you want someone and like someone, the less likely they're going to like and want you. And I'm sure we've all experienced this before. And then when you do the opposite, like when you don't care and you don't like them or you don't want them, there's a greater chance that they will like you and want you. Admit it, it happens all the time, you just don't realize it. There are exceptions, of course. There are always exceptions to the rule, but this is just a kind of a case, kind of a interesting idea that you can apply to your life if you want the perfect life or a life of happiness. So, as I said before, it comes down to definition and acceptance. Let's talk about definition. So definition is essentially what you define. What is your definition of perfection? Are you letting society dictate or define your definition of perfection? You see there's billboards of these hot people. This is the body. This is the perfect body you need to get, or this is the perfect car you need to drive. You get the idea. Or are you defining it for yourself? Are you defining, is your definition of perfection society's, or is it your own? And if it's your own, great, because everything can be perfect, because in a sense, nothing in this world is perfect or imperfect. There's no such thing as either of them. They're just things. It's very arbitrary. Definition is very subjective. I can define, to me, having a job that allows me to travel but pays me nothing could be the perfect job to me, and that's great. That will make me very happy. At the same time, this job could be a nightmare, could be imperfect, completely imperfect for someone else that wants a more stable life. So in the end, it's really about what are you defining? What is perfection to you? Perfection can be, you can define it very low or very high. It's really relative. It's what do you define as perfection, basically. So if you define it very high, or you accept someone else's definition of perfection, and you're like Kia, good luck. Okay, good luck chasing, because you're most likely going to be unhappy a lot of times. Unless you get there, and then you're going to have to start chasing something else, because human beings are inherently wired to chase. Now, the other kind of aspect of this is acceptance. And acceptance is the key part, is the real game changer, because when you accept something for what it is, there is no need to chase, and you can embrace it and enjoy it. It's like when you finally get somewhere, and the situation or the idea of perfection you had, or the goal you had in mind, kind of matches reality, and then it's like, wow, it's much easier to accept when you get something. So let me give you a practical or realistic, really kind of example to illustrate this. So just imagine a time where you just felt complete bliss, like seeing the sun rise, or looking at a waterfall, or having your first kiss with someone you truly love. So just imagine that moment, and it was perfect, right? It was pure bliss. It was perfect because you accepted the moment for what it is. You didn't say, oh, this moment will be perfect if the sun moved a little bit to the left, so I can take the perfect selfie. Or you didn't say to the waterfall, or looked at the waterfall and said, you know what? I wish the waterfall would be a little bit taller or wider and wasn't as loud. Then it would be perfect. Or kissing your partner. I wish, there was there was less people around, or whatever. So this idea of acceptance, accepting the situation for what it is, allows it to kind of imbue you with happiness, to just be absorbed in the moment and just be happy, And that's the real key, to really accept the situation for what it is and enjoy it. Because if you keep worrying about, it doesn't match the idea in my mind, you essentially you'll never get there. There's always going to be that dissatisfaction between reality and your expectations. There's always a mismatch, and that's what creates the inherent unhappiness or imperfection in our life. So in the end, it's really about what are you willing to define. You're going to define happiness up here or down here. It doesn't have to be down. You've got to find what kind of level are you willing to accept, which comes to the next point. And the next part is really to accept. And I know that's easier said than done, but acceptance is really powerful when you just be in the moment and to say, you know what, this is what it is. It is amazing. It is perfect, and that's the key. So let me just summarize by saying that perfection does exist. It just doesn't exist if you keep allowing someone else to define it, or you keep rejecting life as it is. In the end, if you think about it even deeper, it's like this idealistic notion of perfection doesn't lead to happiness. What really matters is just that actual. Wait, I forgot what I was going to say. Let me just get to it. Okay, so yeah, this whole game of life is not even about perfection. It's happiness, and we've just been conditioned to believe that we've got to chase these idealistic notions of perfection, that then we'll be happy. But when you realize it all comes, the power, happiness is in here. It's in here. It's what you define, what you accept. Then your life will be happy. So that's pretty much what I have to say about this paradox of perfection. I hope you got something out of my imperfect ramblings. This, I'm not, this, as you can tell, this is not an imperfect, this is an imperfect take. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments below, as usual, what you think about this whole paradox, and if this works for you, if you stop chasing and just start accepting, does your life become more perfect? Let me know. I'm very curious, and I'd love to help you or give you some advice or more insight into this idea, and plenty more ideas to come in the future. So as usual, if you like this video, subscribe, share and like, so I can create more content, and I know that you guys are enjoying it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.